I'm actually here today to talk about cash constraint environment for indie studios. Because there is something fairly fascinating at the idea of making a game. And it's funny because if you have been in this room the way I've been here through the entire day, there is something in common in every presenter who have been here. And a lot of them is like, I wanted to make a game. There's something fascinating about making games, about this process of creation. But behind this freedom, there is a reality, cash. And many of the, actually, at least two of the developers that I have in my studio in Poland came at the interview and looked at their CV, and for the last 6 months they left their previous job and made a game by themselves. And it didn't work out. So this presentation is about condensating everything that I've learned through two other studios and the one I'm right now in order to survive that first game. So I'm not going to talk about creative process and pinky creative things. It's going to be called risk management decisions, okay? So yeah, surviving the challenge of self-publishing online games, I could call it also surviving your first online game, because the truth is, for many of us as indie developers, about surviving. We have one shot. If we miss it, then that's it. Then we can continue if we have more money from friends or convince other guys, but generally we only have one. As of me, I co-founded a company called Kobojo. We grew to 90 employees. We raised way too much money doing stuff on Facebook. And then I left the grown-up baby and the venture capitalist and to create another one called EVERYDAYiPLay, some self-funded making strategy games. So, Survival Guide 2014. As I mentioned, the goal is to talk about how to make a studio sustainable in terms of cash. And my non-goal is to talk about passion, talent, creative process. You have it. Please don't think that I'm a guy who only talk about risk management. Think all this is here. You have it. I'm going to talk about the stuff that you generally, as indie developer, don't think about. Or so did I at the beginning. All right, so pick up carefully your game. So forget about cross-gender, aka casual, or find a lot of free traffic. Okay, Kobojo, my company, used to have 1 million daily active users on the so-called cross-gender Facebook casual wave. We're doing great. So we thought, oh, we're going to have the next billion-dollar company. We're going to raise a lot of cash. It's going to be great. 90 employees. Ooh, I'm the king of the world. Welcome, sir. The truth is that this was just a bad dream, because this free traffic came because Facebook was extremely viral, was actually too viral. Things change. The truth is, cross-genre games were invented because of this Facebook creative at the time. Zynga got big because of this creative, but there's something unusual about the idea of making a game for everybody. Casually making a game for everybody. And as Ina just told you, it's not such a good idea. And when you look now at the top guys, except for him, which is a lure, you know, this game makes way too many indie think that this is the next thing that I should do. Look at Candy Crush. It should be easy. That's the stuff that I should make. You don't know how this works. Well, look at those. They are actually very gender-specific games. Make gender-specific games. This casual stuff is a lure. And I'm going to tell you why right now. Ta-da! Numbers. And those are hard-cold bundles that I know from inside, from within. Casual games makes 1 to 4 cents DARPU. DARPU is daily average volume per user. How much did I make today divided by how many players came today? Simple division. 1 to 4 cents. Even Zynga with days where they are 5 special sales offer and stuff like that, I think will barely make more than 5 cents. That's it. Casual game just doesn't make money. The way it makes money then will be in volume. You need a lot of traffic to make it. So there's so many stories of my next cute casual games. How much you make? $2,000. Segmented games though, because you target them, you target your audience, go from 7 cents up to $1. That changes everything. It means that with only 20,000 daily active users, actually I can feed the entire studio. Where with 20,000 daily active users times 1 cent, ooh, I'm not going very far to pay the bill. So think about that. Now, so get rid of data from your competition. understand who is your paying audience, and this is all what Ina was saying. Is the market saturated? And think about which platform you'll go first. All right, step 2. Don't innovate too much. Okay. This is the story I keep hearing all over again. And a story that I felt inside myself is that there's a feeling of shame. No, I don't want to copy others, so I'm going to make something completely new. Well, guess what? It's the best way to fail. So, iterate more than innovate. It's okay to iterate. Actually, think about all this big success today. None of them reinvented the wheel. They just took a game, spin it up again. Spin it up in the right art, the right music, maybe a spin in the guild method, or like maybe there's something else in this, or the reward was different, but there's no very strong groundbreaking. There is some, and again, there are rare. There are so little. So, what you can do, add a meta gameplay, change few elements of the core gameplay, add social features, take something, but this is the big no-no. Do not try to reinvent user interface interaction. And actually, when you do that, so you said, okay, I heard Vincent, we're not going to reinvent the wheel, we're going to take a game and tweak it around. There's this mistake that, oh no, we can't put the button here because that's what they did. So we need to put it somewhere else. No, don't do that. If it was here, it was probably for a very good reason. Don't change the way people are used to interact. You can change what you make them play with, but when it comes to user interface, do not innovate or even iterate. Like, there's some standards in user experience that you need to follow. Don't be fooled. All right, step 3. This is, for me, very important. Avoid the $1 mobile app. Go free or expensive. Here's what I mean. $1 apps are just bad. They're just bad. They prevent larger audience to learn your game. This is the story that's really sad. It's like, you've been working for 6 months in your little apartment. Your savings are off. You're on the verge of bankruptcy, and you launch the game, and you're like, okay, guys, I've launched my game. Download it. And your mom is like, but it's $1, so. The truth is, $1 is $1. That even your mom is gonna be like, $1. I love my son, but. It brings to a question. Actually, making a $1 transaction requires requires social proofing, or at least an intention. So there was a very good talk today about the launch of Out There, and the talk was about 50% of development and 50% of social proofing. PR YouTuber, video, here I am, forum, boom, boom, boom. What is that about? Social proofing. It's about putting your word out. Because when you sell a game for money, you need to create the motive to buy before opening the box. That's what they do. So even $1. So my point is that if you manage to convince someone to do that, why ask only for $1? Ask for $4, and that's what they did with Out There. They asked for $4. I think it's smart. So if you do, I'm not saying go free to play. I'm saying if you do, go for premium. Don't do $1. On top of that, what you forget that $1 there is a 70% cut. Then there's the VAT, and then there's there's so little left on the dollar at the end. Yeah, it's not. And also the last thing is that those stuff, just as you saw also from a friend from Michael. You have this huge spike of revenue, and then you have a bit of money. So you really need to make it work well. And again, $4 will be better, or go free. Now the last thing is, so I'm again with one of my programmers here. So what happened? Why did it fail? I don't know. I made this game. It looks great. I'm like, wow, it's actually decent. It looks nice. What happened? Well, I put it on the App Store. But it didn't sell. No, putting things on the App Store will not sell things. It is not magic. It's not beautiful place where just because it's democratic and accessible mean that it will be visible. So you need to work on your distribution strategy. Find a platform featuring. That's the best. That's the best you can do. That's what we had with Vikings Gone Wild. We got a very strong featuring from Facebook. We got almost 1 million users in a week, and but there are, other. We still met over 10 publishers looking for looking for options, basically maximizing your options, and it was like 2 months within development. I was already working a little bit on securing as much option as possible for the distribution. Ultimately, you could do ads, but as Ina was here, you better know your LTV and your stuff. You could burn yourself with that. It's a little risky. So yeah, don't wait the last moment. Last one, step 5, keep it short. There was another presentation today by Laurent, who spent 3 years on his game, and I've been there myself. At Kobojo, one game costs us 600,000 euro. And the worst is that we killed it 2 months after its launch. It was a free-to-play game. It's a disaster, I know. But what could have saved me is to apply that. Keep it short, because time is cash burn. The truth is, you don't need everything to survive, and I will come back to that. So here's the stuff. I'm talking about this speech about online gaming, okay, not so much about AAA. In online gaming, we are dematerialized. We are lucky that we do not, and once we ship, it's a service. We can ship again and again and again and again. So why apply the same stuff as a guy releasing on Steam who has to have who basically needs to sell the box, who has the tick all feature, otherwise it's not gonna sell. We don't have that. We have an experience that people don't have to pay to download and go through. So the truth is, the lean development rules are basically make that beginning and see if players go through that. Do they like it? Basically define your minimum viable product. Do you really need a guild system for the launch? Do you really need, I don't know, 200 missions and 1 year worth of content for the launch? No, you don't. What you need is just the minimum viable product. So keep your first deliverable as short as possible. Define a soft launch and a hard launch date and stick to it. Really do. I mean, okay, maybe a month, but not more than that. Because what happened is that the cash you have in could be reused to keep iterating and try to fix the mistake you'll do at the beginning. And you will do mistake. I'll come back to that. Yeah, stick to that date. At the end, soft launch, observe, and iterate. So I have an example. Pyramidville was a game we launched in 2011, February 2011. We worked only 4 months on the game, and it had pretty much nothing. I mean, as you can see, it's 2011. It's one of those management games. It's even called Ville. Yeah, Zynga came to us. And oh, sorry, my name is Vincent. So, but we had it looked okay, but you couldn't visit your neighbor. There's no collection, no achievement. There was just a mission stuff at the top over there. And the game was playable. It was actually very enjoyable. But the truth is, after a month and a half of playing, you probably reached everything you could do in the game. But we wanted to keep it short. We wanted to see if we reproduce something like this, could we find traction with the existing audience we had? And the truth is, we did. Actually, after 2 months, we reached this is monthly active users. So after 2 months, we're above 1 million monthly active users, which was a great success. So the truth is, right here, we're like, holy shit. Okay, we need to keep stuff. So and what happens is that we added collection right there, we added the guild system here, and so on and so on. But at least, if it failed, and let me tell you, many stories it fails. At least we only spent 4 months on it. We didn't burn all the cash of the company. A great filmmaker, one day say, come to see my next movie because 1 on 2 will be bad. It's like we're in a creative business, and creative is complex. So don't put all your money on just on one game. Okay, and so I have a great story. I don't know if you know this story. I'm pretty sure that you know this game. If you don't, I'm happy to tell you about it. The company is called Kixeye, and they are one of the largest hardcore social gaming company at this point. But it didn't used to be this way. And actually, one of the first games they launched was called Backyard Monsters. And it was at a time where you go in GDC and the words make cross-genre game. It's awesome. And that's what they came up with, cross-genre. this is just, it's like, it tells how hard it is to make something that pleased everybody. It looks like what I read to my daughter, 4 years old. You know, it's like, oh, the little monster. And it failed miserably. Though there was a bit of tower defense. It's a company that makes tower defense stuff. So what they did is that they realized that mostly a male audience was sticking to it, which was very unusual. It was all about the female and casual. And they simply rebranded it and retargeted to only this audience to make it Backyard Monster. 6 months later, they raised $20 million at a valuation of $400 million. This means that worked really well. I don't have the details, but I only know about that. And just tells you that keeping it short also means that you don't have the emotional attachment that says, oh no, this is my choice. No, I chose it. Oh no, it's the right one. It doesn't work. I don't care. It's gonna work. No, it's not gonna work. Iterate. You're an online business. You can change things around. Congratulations, you've launched a game. Here's the survival guide to self-publishing. Maximize your retention, maximize monetization, and maximize acquisition. And please keep it this way. What happened is that you've been working for 6 months, you know, you've been good at the book, and the first thing you want is the world to do it. You're thinking launch. The launch is like, wow, let's go crazy right now. You're thinking acquisition, you know, it's like those guys who did like out there, that's the way it works. You know, you need to convince people to buy, and you have one launch, so you go like this, but in online gaming, it's not the way it works. In online gaming, you first need to maximize retention. You need to understand how people come to your game. Do they understand it? Do they like it? And if they don't, why do they leave? And how can I fix it so that the day I actually press the button, I've optimized everything I can? So what is retention and why is it so important? This is the ideal retention. This is your retention. And the question is how fast do people who you thought, you know, oh, we got 300 million, 300,000 players, and how much do you have right now? I have 1,000 left, because they all left. So how do you test that? Master your first time user experience. The first time user experience exactly is the time where you will lose the most people. If you have a 30% D+1 retention, you're doing great. It means that 70% of them will go. If you do 40%, you're amazing. So the first time experience user is the most important thing when you do free to play. So how do you do that? You look at the first time user funnel, and the funnel looks like that. I got 100 players today. You know, okay, this is e-commerce. Obviously, this is not a game, but you get the point. Basically, you want to see where you're losing people up to what you're looking for. In a For example, I have a very good example of that. Kobojo's first game was called RobotZ. And we wanted to make robots and stuff. It was great in Flash and 3D. We launched the game, and it's so slow to load because we had 10 megabytes, and we didn't realize it was a lot of megabytes. Turns out it failed miserably because people were not even reaching the game. It's not even they were not even trying our game. They were not even seeing it because it was too slow to load. So in Pyramid, it'll make sure that the game was loading in 10 seconds. And you take every step this way. You know, it's like you look at your tutorial, you look at your first mission completion, and you discover what the heck is going on. Now, long-term retention. Here is the interest curve for content only. So basically, I come because of content. I come because I've heard Pyramid, oh, it's great, management, I like it, I come back. And then after time, it's a bit repetitive, and that, oh, this is really annoying. And like, and the only way to keep this up like that is to content, which is a really high pressure for people who have done this business. You can tell how it's pressuring the team to just release. It's like this content. So there is something great, and it's just, and this is my concluding point. And it's George was here talking about the committee who talked exactly about that. A salsa class. What is a salsa class? I come to a salsa class for the content. I want to learn salsa. Hello, my name is Vincent. I want to learn salsa. The first 2 sessions, I'm like looking at my feet, and I'm like, oh, how am I going to do that? And I don't get it. But I'm motivated. Okay. Third session, I start to be more comfortable, and I notice, oh, she's pretty, old guy. Hi, huh? It's like, and George, hi, I'm a programmer, I make video games, really great. Fourth session, George told me, wow, Vincent, you have really nicely progressed. Oh, thanks thank you. Huh. And fifth session, sixth session, and 1 year later, you're not coming back for the content. Because at this point you actually learn and you're like you're coming back because of the the virtual social network of people who recognize and can tell you how great you are in what you've learned. It's exactly the same thing with a video game. Nobody can tell me how great it is to, beat Civilization 5 as an emperor. But a Civilization 5 player will tell me, holy shit, you've done that? And like, yeah, thanks. So here's the thing. Content is great, but social recognition is your long-term retention. And that's exactly what he was talking about. Basically, content is your icebreaker and social recognition is your long-term retention. That's what we do. That's how I believe we can change the world, is providing experience for people to exist again in a different way. I might be 45 years old, I have 2 kids at home, my husband may come back, but in this game, I am someone. And it makes me feel good. That's it. Thank you very much. Okay, do you have questions?
So just to go into a little detail about one of your slides. So do you think of retention and monetization as soft launch type steps and acquisition as a hard launch?
The truth is, I've launched Vikings Gone Wild a year ago and I'm still working on my retention. It's like a never-ending story. I mean, because every time you add something, you might also break another one. So you need to make sure that it fits in the retention, in the story that you have and stuff. But yeah, the idea is that the soft launch is definitely here to measure your retention. And let me tell you, as much as I've done, I was like, I make free-to-play for 5 years, whatever. I launched Vikings Gone Wild, and guess what? Retention was bad. Because the truth is, for 6 months, you're in your tunnel, your black box with a creative process. I'm indie developer, I'm gonna make a games. And then there is the hard reality that hits your face. This stuff is too complicated, too many click on the tutorial, or like the stuff is not clear. So it's like, okay, so again, you look at the funnel, we discovered that basically our tutorial was too long. We discovered that there was something that was not clear. People were not understanding one of the core feature of the game, which kind of sucked. So we changed things around, we renamed things, we changed some arts, and boom, we're 10% higher. So when we launched, we soft launched in July, we launched in October. And when we launched October, we're 10% higher on D+1. That's huge. We're at 20% at the soft launch. So that's my point, that before getting a lot of traffic, make sure that your experience will sustain. Because people don't buy the box and can be deceived. And if they're deceived, it's okay because you already got the $20 or whatever. In our case, in free-to-play, in our social game, well, they have to come in and they actually have to like it and engage with it if we actually want to break even. So.
Thank you.
I hope I answered your question.
Yep.
Any other questions?
Yeah. Can you tell us what was your main strategy when promoting Pyramid Wheel?
Promoting what, sorry?
This Pyramid Wheel, is that called?
So, okay, keep in mind, Pyramidville was a time where Kobojo had a lot of traffic and its social platform like Facebook was very viral. So it was all about, the distribution strategy was about having really, I would say, aggressive viral techniques, where I think the term was codependent gameplay. But again, this was due to the fact that those very aggressive things which I am not so much in line with anyway anymore, were due to the fact that the average revenue per user was so low that we're desperate to be viral. It was like there is the only way. It's still the only way today. So actually, there's King that is this giant layer for young guys. You want to make games like, oh look, I want to make a casual game. It's easy. Look, they make millions of dollars. I heard they make a lot of money, huh? But the truth is, they make that because they have so much traffic. Because they, I think one of the most aggressive acquisition technique and budget at the time where Variety was on, and at the time Zynga was not doing so well, and they really build up a massive amount of traffic, which now allow them to launch a casual game because they have a lot of traffic to push back there. So that's why I'm telling you, don't go there. My new game doesn't have any social feature. There's no codependent stuff except the guild and it's. But I make games for boys, and that's what I do, and that's what and they like it because I make a game for them, so they are more engaged. And yeah,
Thanks.
thank you. I think that's it. Thank you so much, guys, and thank you very much.